Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
How was your day?
It was great, exciting, eventful,
Or uneventful,
uneventful, yeah.
right?
Colonoscopy.
Yeah, so
Good
today,
times.
yeah, we thought we'd talk a little bit about kind of anxiety related to like testing and procedures and things like that. And also just kind of dealing with it both in the world of cancer, but outside of that too, in terms of like one of the things I find, because I've been at this for a while, is, oh, I do need to go get a colonoscopy or whatever. I think when you're so in the cancer world, everything is about your scans, right? What your scans are going to look like or what the procedures are and things like that. So, but today was a good reminder that there's a lot of anxiety around what we call routine things.
Yeah. Well, any test you do, you're doing the test to find a result.
Right.
And the result might be bad.
Yeah.
Right? That's where the anxiety comes from.
Yeah.
Or part of it, yeah. The fear of the unknown in general.
Do you think that's worse having had, like, we've gotten bad news before? Do you think that makes things worse or not necessarily?
I don't understand.
Like, do you think you're more cognizant of the fact that the test could come back bad because of, like, what has happened in our past?
Yeah, maybe. No, I mean, it's more, with something like that. I've heard of people that have had colonoscopies and found polyps and had colon cancer and things like that. So it's much more that because that's applicable to the test and with me. Obviously, cancer's in the forefront all the time because we talk about it a lot, but
Yeah.
not because we live it a lot.
True.
Yeah,
I just was thinking about, I mean, like, we do know that a phone call can change
Yep.
your course, right?
No
We
doubt.
definitely have lived that. And so I think I was more cognizant of it today than I would have been in the past. And I don't know if that's just me aging also or, just kind of a little bit of like, oh, things are going well. Please don't we don't need a curveball today.
Yeah, and I was supposed to get a colonoscopy and then COVID hit. So I'm right on the ball.
I like that that's your excuse.
That is my excuse. I literally went in for a physical and she said we can't do it now.
Oh, okay. I don't remember you going in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that happened and then I should have scheduled it a year later.
Yeah.
And I happened to schedule it like
4
years later. 3 years later.
Okay.
So and I didn't want to have one.
Well, and why? Why didn't you want to have one?
Because I don't want any surgery, first of all.
Yeah.
I heard about the prep and that it sucked. It did. It sucked.
And it made worse by
I
the
went
fact
to the bathroom 20 times. 20 times.
Did you keep track?
I kept track because we had a bath.
Not we.
No, my buddies. And then just any surgery, I don't like needles. I don't like IVs.
Yeah.
That kind. So I have anxiety over that too. Not bad, but it I think about it. So all of those things combined, I would rather be on my boat.
Well, I was going to say made worse by the fact that the prep day was a beautiful day that we could have been boating.
Sure. Yeah.
But
So just all of those things, it's easier for me just to not schedule it than it is to do what I need to do. And with that, procrastination in some cases relieves anxiety.
yeah.
Procrastination in some cases increases anxiety.
I agree.
But they go hand in hand.
Sure.
Anxiety can produce procrastination. Procrastination can produce anxiety. So it's amazing how they fit together in that. And if you think about it, and they're not even just talking about tests or whatever, or results or medical things.
Yeah,
talking about across the board in your life, anxiety and procrastination go together a lot.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily the things when we're talking about you going through that initial testing and initial treatment and with scans within that treatment, it's not procrastination because everything's scheduled for you. There is a timeline that happens.
Oftentimes that can't happen fast enough for people, right? It's just like...
Or for doctors. There is once you're rolling, it is, like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you move to front of the lines to some extent. And, when I called to finally schedule my physical after COVID or whatever, I was told, you are not a patient of ours anymore because it's been more than 3 years. And I went, I saw that coming. So I had to see somebody else and get it scheduled and all that. And I knew it was all, but it was all just procrastination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that problem too in like, I'm going to get the same thing or I'm going to be close, I think. They
told me that you need to
call and schedule. But for me, it's like, okay, so I need to call and schedule something with my PCP. When everything seems to be going okay, that for me, I'm always on top of the cancer stuff. Like that's a priority for me. And sometimes the PCP kind of stuff for me becomes like extraneous. Like, why am I doing this? I guess I do need them.
But it's cholesterol, it's blood pressure, it's get your blood checked, which that doesn't necessarily happen through the oncologist.
No, I know, but this is the other thing. Like, I do know I'm getting labs done this summer when I go see my oncologist. I could say, will you draw those too? And they would.
Yeah, right.
It is one of those things. I know I value my oncologist so much, but I also know it's not her responsibility to be my PCP.
Right.
So I do need to, I need to do that. And I have had a colonoscopy before, but it's been more than 10 years. So I guess I need to probably schedule that too. But it's just, I don't know. I just think it is more challenging than we think about sometimes in terms of, putting that stuff off. And I think some people are way better about kind of
the scheduling,
the procrastination and
better about procrastination.
No, way more likely to procrastinate about healthcare kind of issues.
Most of my friends, I would say, are I'm not going to no effing doctor.
Yeah.
They only have bad news. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
So it's, now, do they have anxiety over that? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not high anxiety. It's not really affecting their world right now. And they know that could lead to, obviously they understand, they are intelligent people that understand when something is caught early. It's usually not as big of a deal, but they're like, oh, heck no. I'm not doing that. So, I don't know. I think some of it also, I could be wrong here, but I think some of it is a guy's world. Some of it is a woman's world. In my world, the people I know, guys are much more likely to put off stuff like that.
Here's a question.
But I don't know if that, maybe women do too.
If I had offered, like, I'll schedule this for you, would you have been more likely to do it?
Oh, yeah. For sure. Yeah,
so
if you just want to do it all,
Yeah.
It's a pain. I hate anything like that.
Yeah, but this is the thing I think that's also, we all hate it.
I know.
Women hate it too, but I think just because that is one thing that probably, I've scheduled way more appointments. One, because of the cancer history, but even just for our kids and things like that, right?
Yeah, you handled all of those.
Yeah.
100% of any appointment for our kids you've done.
Yeah.
I've never scheduled one.
I think you've taken them to a few.
Okay, but I had never scheduled one.
Then I'd be like, did you schedule the next one? You'd be like, what?
No. If they asked me to schedule, I would have went, no, you should talk to my wife. I'll screw it up. Yes.
Yeah.
But that worked for us, at least from my standpoint. That works for us, that arrangement.
Well, I kind of felt like, I guess there is a little bit of me too that's like, no, you do need to be accountable for your own health. And I know, like, you have been, like, so serious about really being fit and active, especially because of the officiating, so important to you. But also the accountability when you take it, I think, feels good to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be the one. You're my husband.
I don't like something hanging over my head not done.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's laundry. I don't care if it's anything in my life does cause me anxiety when I know it's not done. Mm-hmm. It drives me nuts right now that my truck needs swept out. It's hanging over my head. It's on my to-do list, but it's been on my to-do list a long time. Every single time I get in my truck, I go, stuff like, I hate it. I'm a little OCD about some things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of them. I know I got to schedule that doctor's appointment. Oh, I know they're going to tell me I'm not a patient anymore, so I got to find a new one.
Yeah, I think, but that's anxiety also. Like, that's what we do in our brains. Like, oh, and then it's going to lead to this, and then it's this, and another thing. And
I've heard of people not being able to find doctors.
Yeah, it's so, well, and even in our area, it's, healthcare in rural areas is a nightmare.
Which is kind of BS.
Yeah.
Because I called and they were told I'm not a patient of this doctor anymore. But there's another person in the office and I got in the next day. The next day. The guy's got nothing to do. And all these people, we're out here going, we can't find doctors. No, this guy's got time.
Well, but I will say, like, before he arrived, when I made an appointment for this PCP, I literally waited a year to get on the books with her. A year. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I know this is the person I want. And also, I was fairly certain that she wasn't going to go anywhere, which is the other thing in our area. People move all the time. I wonder
if it's the same in cities. I wonder if, that's the same issue, or is it easier, especially with people with cancer, finding and being happy with the primary care physician, not the oncologist, and continuing forward with that person and the links they have to your health care. Do they matter, or are they just on the back burner type of physicians in your life? I wonder about that, because we only know about our experience with that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that in other countries, like,
do
you guys, does it work the same? Do you have to, I don't know, deal with the same type
specialists,
of things?
Truly, we have a country of specialists.
Yeah. Huh. But you lived through it.
Yep.
And everything's good.
Yep. But just procrastination, and so we go to, with the cancer part of this is, do you still feel anxiety over tests today, 26 years later?
I do. I do sometimes more than others.
And I'm not saying an anxiety of 10, but is it on the scale?
Like, even lately, I've been feeling like some things in my back, and again, I can walk myself through this. There's a few reasons why that might be happening right now that aren't related to my health per se, but to things I know, or to, it's hard sometimes for me not to, I hear about people's cancers all the time. Yeah. And this is honestly why I stayed away from kind of engaging the way I did for so long, was because I needed to be sure that I could take on other people's, issues, other people's problems, with that, and not have it like manifest physically, or not have myself get anxious about these, about upcoming scans. And I will say too, the other problem right now is that my scans are in July. And it's so funny. I was just talking to my daughter. Our daughter today is in a high risk clinic, and it's really great. And it's, she actually had to find a new one, whatever, all this stuff. And it went well, but we were talking about scheduling appointments. And I said, I find that for me, like, fall or spring is way better for me, just because I don't want to do it in the summer when we're busy all the time. I don't want it to, like, and I know, like, especially initially, you can't control when you find out you have cancer. I found out in December, like a week before Christmas. But now that I do have some control, it's kind of like, I don't want to do this. I don't want the ramp up, the anxiety coming in, to our summer plans. I want them at a different time of year. Some of that just keeps getting bumped because, like, insurance companies won't allow you to do anything until it's been a year, or whatever that kind of looks like. So
that's literally what happened to me in my yearly checkup.
Yeah.
It got bumped. And so I started in the beginning of summer, and as the years went, it turned into fall. Well,
Yes.
I can't do it in the fall.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? You know,
Yeah.
that's what happened to me. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing. But I also.
But then if you wait 4 years, you can get right in.
Sometimes. But the other thing is, like, it is kind of one of those things that if you think about it enough to go, yeah, no, for whatever reason, this month is terrible for me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, especially like with the cancer stuff, a lot of times they'll go, oh, no, that's okay. We can, like, I'm going to shoot for skipping August. Like, I'm kind of almost late July for my appointments this year. So I just rather go into September and do them then,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So there, yeah, I definitely feel it.
Let's maybe go back in time and the anxiety that you felt with scheduling or the test or the result or any of that. What did you do to help with that?
Yeah, there's a few things. I mean, I will say I did get pretty good at being pretty proactive. So I learned the system well enough to know that, like, you know, I could do certain tests together on the same days. And then if I did them, you know, a week before, at least 4 days before, whatever, they would be read. Because I think this is always, like, when you're first diagnosed and you're doing testing and then you walk into an appointment that you're all geared up for and they're like, we don't have your results. Or we haven't seen, and it's just like, you've got to be kidding me. I think that's gotten better with all the, you know, technology kind of thing.
Yeah.
But still, it's one of those things where, you know, you want them to not only have gotten it, but to maybe have reviewed it a little bit so they know what they're thinking about coming in. The other thing, I think it's really hard for people to wait, especially initially. And I've always just recommended, like, it's okay to tell people, hey, do you have a waiting list and can you put me on it? Like, I can come at any time, or I can, you know, like, this is a priority to me. And I've had pretty good luck with that over the years too, with just, like, you know, sometimes my oncologist is 2.5 hours away. So it's not like I can be there in a half an hour, but even my dentist, who I have trouble getting into also, is the same kind of thing. Put me on a cancellation list and they'll just, hey, we have an appointment. Do you want it, kind of thing. So I think that kind of stuff helps.
What about anxiety of, like you talked about, like I'm having some back pain or whatever?
Yeah.
What about that? What would you recommend?
For me, I just have to go back to, what have you done for yourself? I mean, also, okay, this probably isn't anything. Like, it's probably not. I'm a lot better at realizing that I just believe so strongly in what comes in can manifest itself sort of physically. So when I'm hearing about, you know, diagnoses, my college roommates got some stuff, you know, like, we have some things going on where you do kind of feel it, you know, and it's like, oh man, I hope this doesn't pile on too. Like, I want to really be able to support people in my life, you know, but then I have to think about, okay, what can I control? What can I control? I can control whether or not I've worked out. Have I lifted lately? Have I done any of that? No. You know,
I think one big thing that you do is you tell me.
Yeah. Well,
when you have something, you just, whether we're laying in bed or just as an aside, hey, I'm at, you know, and when you vocalize something like that and you let it out of the bag that is real in your life, I think there's some merit to that.
I
can't tell the right person though.
Yeah, you do. You have to tell the person who's... I'm sorry, I feel like I have to sneeze. Happy spring. You have to tell the person who is not going to freak out on you or pile on or anything, right? So yeah, I have definitely found that I do have a process through all of this, especially for pain, like, especially for me, it's usually back pain. It's been, I've had a rib removed. We've had biopsies done in my spine. So many different things. So, like, it usually is there. And I just kind of am at a point where I'm like, okay, I feel that. And then I'll try to acknowledge it. Like, okay, I feel it. And then, like, is it still there after a couple days? Because usually it's not something that just, like, is so much that it's really bothering me. but it's very specific. It's a bone pain. I mean, my neck has been hurting me, but that's not it. That's muscular. I can tell. It's just like, but it's a bone pain that I feel. But yeah, it really is about just kind of acknowledging it and then saying something to you, or the podcast to you, is really helpful to me. And I can't tell you, I know so many times over the years, it has kind of just gone away from doing that.
Which is what I would recommend to all you people listening is when you do have something, you want to talk about anxiety building and that us turning it over in our self-talk in our heads, you are so much better off vocalizing it, having a conversation about it, the merits of it, the demerits of it, all of that going through it verbally with another person is only going to help you.
Yeah.
And you know what? They might give you some good piece of advice that you didn't think about with that, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Or, maybe it's that confirmation that you need that, maybe I should make a phone call. Or
well, and usually especially back in previously we used to kind of make a deal. Like if it's still there in 3 days or in a week, we'll call or I'll call or whatever.
Yeah.
And most times we didn't have to. Sometimes we definitely did. Sometimes we pursued it all the way through to, I need to know what this is. Yeah, we need to biopsy this.
Yep.
And
but still, the anxiety part will not build as much if you're keeping this secret versus letting the people that are on your team or in your life be on board with this.
No, you're saying the anxiety will be better?
Will be better without you keeping it in and you keeping this secret because, I don't want to worry them or I don't want to worry my kids. I get all of that. That is real. But it does nothing for you. And you being the one, you're the one that matters here. You can't internalize that stuff. The people in your life that love you, that are still on your team and still around for this part of it, that's why they're still around. You got to let them in, I think.
I totally agree. And honestly, I think as parents, sometimes we make a bigger deal out of things than we need to. I think it's okay to say, Mom said her back hurts. We're a little, and that's always, we didn't say we were worried about it. We were concerned about it. We would say she might need to make an appointment or she might this or whatever. But it was not like, hey kids, you should start to worry. I mean, that's not how we handled things ever. So.
No. And we did keep some things secret.
For sure.
With that, but she didn't keep it secret from me. Or from her mom, or brothers, or the team. Right, the team. You didn't do that because, when you got it out there, now you're discussing it versus hiding the secret. And when I talk about anxiety doesn't help with the mental side of anything.
Totally agree.
Never a positive that came out of anxiety building in that realm. Yeah.
I think it's okay to say things like, I'm a little worried right now, but it'll be okay.
So true.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying you need to hide your feelings or put on a happy face necessarily. I think it's okay to acknowledge, like, I'm just in a tough spot right now, but don't get into the gritty details,
We've all procrastinated and had anxiety about a conversation we had to have with somebody.
Yeah.
Whether you were in the leadership role and it was somebody underneath you and you're just putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And then you finally had it and you just felt so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Even the situation might not have changed at all.
Yeah.
But you had the conversation, you verbalized it, you got it out there, and life is just better because of it. In almost all situations, and this is a little bit different with this, but in almost all of those situations, there was something that came to light that you didn't even consider.
Absolutely.
And that can be the case here if you're talking to the right person.
Right. Well, again, I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record on this lately, but
you are.
Sometimes people aren't thinking about us the same way that we're thinking about ourselves. Yep. So, like, you maybe have had this whole conversation in your head, but you made up what people are going to say, and then they actually get to say it, and you're like, oh, okay, that was great. Or, no, they weren't mad at all. Or, no, that didn't. Or, that was amazing. That suggestion's so helpful to me.
For sure.
So, all of those things. The other thing I just want to add is, if you don't have a person, journaling is really helpful. Like, writing it down kind of, especially
I've never done it.
I'm more old school than new. I mean, I don't know about typing as much, but like really like letting the words leave a pen or a pencil. Like there's something about that too that kind of helps you release. I do think there's a lot to verbalizing things, but I think writing things down is okay too in terms of trying to let go of them.
I'm a oral or a verbal person.
Yeah.
I don't know as writing would do anything for me. It would still be my secret.
Yeah.
It would be the same as me looping it through my head in my self-talk. For me, that's the exact same thing. And I do that a lot, the self-talk, and go through and replay things 100 times in different ways to try to find it. But I do that a lot. But once I have a conversation, that is way different.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that because you do go through situations, but like the difference between you and I is like you're making a plan when you're thinking about all the possibilities. And that's what I that's what makes you such a great coach too, is like, if this happens, then we'll do this and this. And I'm just like, oh, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's
why we're a good team.
It's just very different approaches to that. I remember the last time we were in the city and we were joking around about something happening, and you're like, oh no, I already thought about that. I would this. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Your brain, my brain do different things throughout the day.
That is true.
So anyway, anxiety's not fun. Yep. It's definitely a huge part of having cancer, but also healthcare in general. Mm-hmm. And we just got to learn how to, deal with it. Live with it as little as we need to. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that means some action steps, getting some things done, really.
If you're procrastinating, make an appointment tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you're worried about something, have a conversation today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed at just those two things.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the procrastination on that and having a conversation can just do miracles for these. And miracles for our mindset, the one who's worried about it.
Yeah.
Can do great things.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So just as a reminder, we are going to go to weekly episodes for the summer.
Yep.
We love you guys, but we also love our boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just better. And we'll have some fun with that, hopefully. Maybe, I don't know. We're always just figuring out what we're going to talk about. But, yeah. So
happy holiday weekend coming up.
Yeah. Already. Woo.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you later.
Peace.